Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Wrestling Podcast. It's your host, Will, and today our other host, Emmett, couldn't make it, and we're interviewing Lachlan McNeil. Lachlan, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing really good. So let's get on with the first question. What are some of your accomplishments, and can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Wrestling compliments. Most of them have happened in basically the past year. Ironman champ, Super 32 champ, and National Prep champion. All
Nice.
at 125.
Okay.
32 and 138.
Mm-hmm. How old were you when you started wrestling, and how did you get into the sport?
I was a little bit older than most. I was probably 11 or 12 when I started. Especially since everyone in America starts when they're basically born or 6 or 7. And just kind of passed down through my family. My dad used to wrestle. He wrestled for Great Britain. He went to the Olympics in '92, and so it just kind of passed down from there.
Yeah. So didn't you start wrestling in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah. Well, actually, in Abu Dhabi is when we started wrestling.
Okay. And then you moved to Canada. I'm guessing that you probably mainly wrestled freestyle. Yeah. So how did you make that transition from freestyle to folk style?
It's a great question. Basically, up here in Canada, in America, wrestling is actually very, very, very popular compared to in Canada. So we'd found out when we come over here, we'd wrestle literally brackets of 6 or 7 kids, like 4 times a year. You're wrestling the exact same kids. And so after a while, if you get better and you become one of the better kids, you're just kind of wrestling the same kids every year. So we started going down. We met a couple people. We reached out to a club named G2, which was run by Burgos. And they were really good friends with Yanni and the Jack Mahalis family. And so we kind of went out to a couple of their camps and then started, wrestling folk style. And from there, we made some connections and it kind of worked out real well for us.
Yeah. So you've wrestled both freestyle and folk style. Which style do you think is probably your favorite?
I would say whenever I'm wrestling the one, the other is my favorite. Whenever I'm wrestling folk style, I hate kind of the long, like funk scrambles and all the stalling. But then when I'm wrestling freestyle, sometimes I hate the parterre. So if I had to pick one, I would say I think I'm naturally better at folk style, and I think that's a lot more exciting, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. So you've wrestled in Canada and US. What do you think the difference is between the kids there in the competition?
Obviously, the style at first, right? So most kids mainly wrestle folk style. Second is I would just say the numbers. So a lot more kids are wrestling in the US, and therefore, the level is going to be a little bit better because everyone is competing. So I would say the level is a little bit higher in the US because there's so many other kids, as well as the training intensity is just a lot higher there.
Yeah. So this year you won Super 32, Ironman, and National Preps. Did you win any other major tournaments?
I wrestled Powerade and I won that.
Okay. So out of all those 4, which one do you think was the toughest?
It would have to be between Super 32 or Ironman.
Okay.
I think Ironman was tough because I had 2 really, really tough guys in the semi and the finals. But at Super 32, it was very, very deep the whole way through. So I would say toughest tournament would probably be Super 32 because I had close matches basically from round of 16 on.
Okay. Yeah, I was really interested in seeing what you'd say for that question. That was a question I've been looking forward to.
Because Ironman was a super tough tournament, but I would have to say Super 32.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you think Super 32 is the hardest tournament in the country?
I think some of the weights are hit and miss, right? So I would say I think Ironman is the toughest tournament in the country, no doubt.
Okay. What do you think is harder, National Preps or Powerade?
Harder to win or harder depth-wise?
Harder to win.
Harder to win, probably National Preps.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. National Preps is tough. There's a lot of good private schools.
Yeah, because you got to think Blair's there too, and almost every guy on the Blair line is probably ranked somewhere up there. So
yeah,
Yeah, between those two teams, especially now Lake Highland Prep's coming, definitely National Prep's a tough one.
Yeah. And also Sem is at National Preps. Those two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you've lived in 3 different countries. Why did you and your family move this much? And is there or do you have a parent that's in the military?
No, I don't have a parent that's in the military.
Okay.
But why we moved, I'm not even 100% sure. I know my dad found work out there. He works in business and he found work out in the Middle East. And then we moved back home because my mom's parents are from Canada, so it was just kind of logical to go back there. And then from there, the only reason I actually went to a boarding school was basically for wrestling. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it worked out.
Mm-hmm. So what made you attend Wyoming Seminary? And is there, out of everything like about going to Wyoming Seminary, is there one thing you like the most about it?
The wrestling is definitely the one thing I like the most about it. It's a great school. It's this nice prep school in kind of the middle of nowhere, and it was obviously a big change coming from like a major city like Toronto to like a little PA town. So it's a lot different, but I liked it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So do you know why it's called Wyoming Seminary when it's in Pennsylvania?
It's very confusing. You know how many people I've told up here in Canada, when I'm going to Wyoming Seminary, why are you going to Wyoming? So basically, it's in Wyoming, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
So, and it used to be a seminary back in the olden days.
Okay. Yeah, when I was looking on Flow for like who won national preps, I was like, what's Wyoming Seminary? I didn't know there were any good schools in Wyoming.
Yeah, it's mad annoying sometimes.
So you're in a pretty loaded room at SEM, with guys like Nick Bouzakis and Bo Bartlett and lots of more. What is it like training with those guys?
It's great. It's kind of similar to. I always like to relate it to. You ever seen the Penn State room where all those good guys
Yeah.
with each other, and then you'll see North hits a headlock, then everyone's just kind of learning off each other, and you can see it in the wrestling. It's the same. It's the same there. I'll wrestle with guys from 120 all the way up to 160, right? And because everyone, and you can all wrestle with each other. So Gabe, there's Keevman, Bo, Munch, Kuzakis. I mean, there's a bunch of guys I can wrestle with, and we all kind of just learn from each other, which is great.
Yeah. Do you have like a main partner in the room?
My main drilling partner was Keevman, so he was
Okay.
our 52-pounder.
Nice.
And then during live, I would always go with Keevman and Gabe Arnold, so 52-60, and me and Bo would roll on the bench too.
Yeah. I was thought it would be you and Bo because it's like kind of
The way it worked out was Bo and Buzox were great. Those two used to hit it off all the time. So
okay. Yeah. So you've committed to University of North Carolina. What made you choose to attend there? And why did you put that over like other schools?
Why I chose UNC is it's just the best spot for me, academically and athletically. I'm gonna try and go into business, right? And that's where I want to study. And so the business school is great there. And the wrestling program, they're kind of, at least in the past 5 years, they're known for producing 141 to 149 pounders, the All-American. And so I have guys like Coleman, who's just a bit bigger than 149. Same with Ramos. You got Jordan Oliver, Austin O'Connor. So my room is just completely filled with killers. So I can't not get better there. Academically, it's the right level. There are schools that I was talking to, Ivy League. And personally, I don't think I could do well in business at an Ivy League, but also be able to wrestle. So I had to find that balance. And I think UNC presented itself as the best option.
Yeah. So were there any other schools you were looking into?
At the time, I had most of my success this year. So when I was doing my recruiting in the junior year, I wasn't getting as many calls, right? So close seconds, like other schools I was talking to that were really close, I really liked UVA. Cornell was there as well. Penn Wrestling was there. Purdue, but none of the big schools. And so none of those guys were really reaching out to me. So
yeah, because were there like a lot of people coming to you after you won like Super 32, Ironman, all those?
No, because I'd committed by then. I committed right before Journeyman, and then I won Journeyman, Super 32, Ironman. So yeah, it was something.
Do you think your decision would have been different if like you won all those tournaments before you committed?
No. At the moment, I'm not even signed. I'm taking a graduate year, so I could, like I'm not signed to a school, but that's why nothing would change for me. I think UNC is just, it's the spot for me. It's going to be perfect, and I'm beyond excited to get down and train there.
Yeah. Have you rolled around with any of those guys yet?
I went to one of their camps the year before, so I'd wrestled with Coleman and Tony, and yeah, I'm excited to hopefully get a roll around with Jordan Oliver. So that'd be cool. Because he's
Mm-hmm.
65, so
Yeah, that'd be so cool rolling around with Jo.
yeah.
Um, so are there any coaches you credit to your success?
Tons, every one of them. Most particularly, obviously all the coaches at SEM. So Coach Green, Coach Ravelli. One of the coaches that doesn't get a lot of credit is Coach Will Weber, and he kind of runs the Excalibur Club.
Uh-huh.
But he's a phenomenal technical coach, and he's really, really good at working with people's mindset. He was one of my favorite coaches. Him and Coach Hagel were both really, really good coaches, as well as the rest of them. Outside of that, I trained a lot in the garage with Yanni's dad, Baba, or Ilya Diakomahalis. So he's been a big influence, and he's helped me a lot with my wrestling. So those kind of coaches they've been wonderful to me.
Yeah. Do you roll around with Yanni and Greg a lot?
When I was little, I used to wrestle with Greg all the time. I'd go down to his house, and I'd stay for a couple weeks in the summer. I even lived with him for a couple months at his house. My younger brother lived with Burgos, who is half a street away, and they would all train in the garage there. So those guys are real, real close friends. And Yanni's obviously got all his training partners now, but I'm at the point where I'm a little bit bigger than Greg, and now, if things work out, I might be able to go roll around with Yanni. So, see.
Yeah, because you and Yanni aren't you guys like around the same size now?
Basically, yeah. But I used to always, before Super 32, me and Greg used to be in the same way, and we'd always wrestle with each other. So,
Really?
yeah.
Who would win?
I'll be honest with you, Greg would get the better of me most of the time, but I'm bigger now, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So you've gotten to wrestle a lot of high-level opponents at like Super 32, Ironman, all those tough tournaments. What is your mindset going into those super big matches when you have a really tough opponent?
It's weird, but most of the time I'm just I'm very calm, and I'm excited and happy to be there. Before I went to semi junior year, I'd be at home training in Canada. I'd watch BC's finals, I'd watch Ironman finals, and I'd always be sitting there just watching these other people do. And so, big matches like before Manzona at Prep Nationals, I'm like, it's fun because instead of actually sitting on the couch and watching it, I'm finally there. I get to do it. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be there, and I'm just excited to compete. So.
Yeah. Wait, so you transferred to SEM your senior year?
Junior year.
Okay. So where did you go your freshman and your sophomore year?
I was just in high school in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any success there?
Yeah, we had I won our states. I won our 2 states, like the equivalent of states. I won that twice my freshman, sophomore year, and then I transferred over.
Okay. So having a father who's a 1992 Olympian is super cool. How much does he do for you as a father and as someone like as a coach?
As a coach, he used to coach me a lot when we were kids. He's not so much a coach now. He'll still help me a bunch with other stuff, but I have other coaches for that. But he's been unbelievable. He's just such a supportive father, especially with a lot of Canadians. They can't get down to the U.S. and go to camps and stuff because it requires time. You have to drive there on long drives. You got to book hotels. You got to plan it all out. And so my dad has helped me with that throughout everything. My recruiting process, getting to the schools, helping with applications. So he's been amazing to me.
Okay. So do you have a favorite food after weigh-ins?
After Wayne's favorite food? Oh, I mean, after Wayne's, I'm just drinking, right? So I'm drinking Pedialyte and waters. But favorite food, I would always if it was night before Wayne's, I would always have crackers or goldfish or something, drink Pedialyte, and then we'd go out and I'd always get fettuccine Alfredo or spaghetti with meat sauce. That stuff just hits different, I swear.
Yeah, spaghetti with meat sauce.
So good.
I know. My mom's homemade spaghetti and meat sauce is amazing.
After weigh-ins, it's different though. Like once you get to high school and you're doing the day of weigh-ins, kind of sucks because I miss those days in middle school where you get a you weigh in, you eat everything you want, you get a nice sleep, and then you wake up and compete. So
Yeah. How much weight did you cut your last year?
this year I
Oh
didn't.
yeah, this year.
This
Okay.
year I didn't cut any weight, but junior year at 120, I was cutting some mad serious weight, some serious weight. I remember I was probably one of the biggest guys on our team. I would weigh in. There was a bunch of tournaments where I would weigh in at 120 or 122, and that night, and I wasn't like I was eating crazy. I was just kind of eating throughout the day and drinking a lot, and I would weigh out that night 138.
Jeez.
It was bad. There was a lot of times where, like 2 weeks before preps, there was ways I was trying to find ways to make sure I couldn't make weight. Like I didn't want to compete, but
Uh,
coaches helped me out, and I made weight, and I got done with the season. But I hated it. It was just too much.
why do you wrestle? Why do you wrestle at 120? Was there like not a spot open at 126?
It was so weird because it started off and I was going to go 126, and that was my plan. And then we did preseason running, and I started getting a little light for 126. So I was like, I could go 120, and I think it would work out better for the team, right? And everyone was talking about how our team had a good chance of beating Blair and we'd be number one. So I was like, all right, I'll go 120 because that'll be the best weight class for me as well as the team. And it was a good weight class because even though I was cutting a lot of weight, I was getting the results, but it wasn't worth it in my opinion.
Yeah. What were some of your accomplishments your junior year?
I basically placed in all majors. I took second at prep nationals. I lost to Trevor Mastro in the finals.
Okay.
Sixth at Beast of the East and fourth at Ironman.
Okay. Uh, what are some of your long-term goals?
Long-term goals. Well, this year my goal is to be a junior world champ. For the next, I might have two shots at it because they just confirmed one in December. So if it's two-time junior world champ or junior world champ if it's only one. Long term, outside of that, would be I don't plan on wrestling very, very long. Maybe I might have 6, 7 more years, and then outside of that, there's like things I want to do in business. So obviously, winning some sort of senior world title, whether that's Olympic or world, doesn't really bother me. But getting some sort of Olympic or world medal would be my main goal.
Yeah. So what has the sport of wrestling done for you? Like, what lessons has it taught you?
It's taught me a lot of lessons and opportunities, to be honest with you. Lessons is it took me to a school where I had to learn. It's the basic stuff that you learn, right? Making sure you can take take good care of your time. Time management. You learn discipline. You learn how to be tough, mentally strong, work hard, all those. But more importantly for me, I've been blessed with a bunch of opportunities through wrestling. I'm going to a great school and a great wrestling program, and probably one of the best college experiences around because of wrestling. Otherwise, I'd still be here in Canada. I wouldn't have the results I have. I wouldn't be at the level I am at wrestling if it wasn't for the opportunities it presented.
Mm-hmm. So what do you like to do in your free time?
To be honest with you, I play a little bit of Fortnite myself, so we should probably get together and play that sometime.
Yeah.
But I play a little bit of that, not too much. Most of the time, at the moment, I'm doing a little bit of work, some construction work. I'm training twice a day, so there's not a lot of free time, right? But basically, everything I do has to do with wrestling. It's on my mind 24/7. Everything I do relates to it. So.
So you say you train twice a day. Who do you train with since you're up in Canada and there's not as many wrestlers?
At the moment, I'm training with my older brother, and we have this wrestler named Saeed Azerbaijani. He was on the 2008 Olympic team.
Yeah.
51 kg. So, he's a little bit older, but he still got it. He's freakishly strong, and he's a great partner. So we're looking, maybe we might get another Olympian in Heisen Garcia. I know he's around Toronto. So when things start opening up, we'll be able to grab more people. But training for everyone at the moment is a little restricted.
Okay. Do you live in Southern Canada?
I live in Toronto, so that's basically on the border with New York.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. How much do you go to the States?
Now I basically live there, apart from the summer, right? So when I go to UNC, I'll be there from September till June, and then I might come home for a little bit and then go back. So
Yeah. Well, like in this quarantine, like, how much do you go to America?
I've been here since February.
Okay.
We had spring break and then Corona hit and the borders have been closed. So I can't go back unless like I can fly there, but I need to find somewhere to stay, a place to train for a good bit. Because as soon as I come back, I got to quarantine for 2 weeks. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
isn't it like once you want to leave, you need to quarantine for 2 weeks?
What I'm reading, if you go through land, then yeah, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. But if you fly, you may not have to quarantine if you go to the United States. But
Okay.
back to Canada, then you do, yeah.
Mhm. So are there any other sports you like to watch or play other than wrestling?
MMA, but that's still combat sport. But yeah, no, I don't watch basketball or football or any of that, to be honest.
Okay. Do you have a favorite MMA fighter?
Aaron Till, middleweight. Do you know him?
Yeah, I know Darren Till.
Yeah, I love Aaron Till. How can you not? His when we lived in Abu Dhabi, his whole team came over, and at the time he wasn't with us, but his whole team, his coach, they were fighting on the card, and so they stayed over at our house as well as GSP.
Yeah.
He stayed at my house too, so it was pretty cool.
No way. That's so cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, so it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Darren Till. I'm more of a Henry Cejudo guy.
Cejudo. See, I like Cejudo for a little bit, and then I don't know. He just kept talking and talking and talking. I don't know if I like that much anymore.
I like how he's cringy, like Triple C.
You like that? See, that I don't like that at all. It draws me away from it, if anything. But
Okay. Do you have a favorite wrestler?
wrestler? Yeah. I don't know if you'll know him, but he Haji Aliyah from Azerbaijan. He's 65 kg, Olympic bronze medalist, 3-time world champ at 65 kg. He's one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. And just
Okay. So do you have a favorite American wrestler?
favorite American wrestler. I'd probably say Yanni, just because I know him. He's doing real well right now. But
Okay.
him or I like Sanderson.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah. You might have to wrestle Yanni if you compete on the senior level for like the Olympics.
yeah, at some point probably. But
Yeah. So what weight are you planning on going in college?
141 and 149, I'll see. Because I have the build and I have the height to be a 149 pounder, and I'm in between weights right now, so it all depends. If I get in a college program, I start lifting like them, I might blow up to 55, 160. It might be 149. We'll see.
Yeah.
But between those two.
How much are you walking around at right now?
Right now, I'm small. I'm probably like 50 or thereabouts. Right.
Okay.
So, the thing is, when I wrestled at Ironman, I would the second day I weighed in like 144 or 143. I was light, very very light.
Jeez, that's crazy. Walking around like that. Were you was there like a big size difference in the season since you didn't cut any weight?
It all depends on the kids you wrestle. There's some kids I wrestled like Manzona. He was always big. I haven't seen him step on the scale before a tournament not being like either right on or 0.1 under. So he was huge. There was St. Ed's wrestler Georg. He was also massive. So certain kids were kind of the same size as me. Didn't really cut weight. Like Vic, Voinovich isn't that big. But
Okay.
He looked kind of jacked up, but he's not that big.
All right. Did you go undefeated this season?
I mean, I did, but then I had to forfeit in the prep states. So if you count forfeits, no. If you don't, then yes.
Oh, okay. Wait, so you didn't win states this year?
Well, what they do is they do prep states, and then they go to prep nationals, and I don't really know why, but I guess it qualifies. You got to take like top 6 and qualify. And at the time, the week before, I hurt my hamstring, and so this is kind of where that whole have you seen the photo of Manzona with the "Who wants to smoke" or "I want the smoke" shirt?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so that's where this whole story originates, because I'm there, and I wrestled Del Barton the week before, and I hurt my hamstring, and I'm supposed to wrestle him at prep states. And so I wake up the next day, and I basically can't walk because anytime I take a big step, my hamstring starts seizing up. So my hamstring was hurt. and we knew that we were going to forfeit in the prep state finals. So we get to the finals, we forfeit, and he's all mad because he wants to wrestle me. And so he's writing this, I want the smoke shirt. And then he brings to the prep nast at the finals. He's, it's his kind of personality, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And draw people to watch. So.
Did you beat him?
Yep, in the finals.
What was the score?
It was, I pinned him in the second, but at the time it was 7-1 or something like that.
Okay. Was he classy after, or was he still kind of? Okay.
Yeah, it's funny though because if you watch that same match, he bombed me on my head. It's a shame because he probably could have got the first takedown, but he went back arch, and I ended up getting a point off of it. I mean, it was like a Batista bomb. It was something I've never seen before.
Jeez, was it illegal because he did a full back arch?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Funny though.
Yeah. So I think that's all we have for today.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for coming on. This was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The great work, huh?
Yeah.
All right. See you.
All right. See you, Lachlan.